Good morning, my dear students. We were discussing chapter 7, Sabina's Race. We discussed till page number 65. We will start from the second last paragraph of page number 65. Last day we saw that Abbas Bhaiya came to see Anjana's father and they were discussing about one school sports meet that Sabina wanted to participate. But her father was totally against that. So he brought Sabina to Anjana's father to convey her that she should face the consequences of her choice. But Sabina decides that she will run, and Anjana and Sabina were practicing in Nehru Park at 4 a.m. They both parted after deciding to meet at the same time the following days. Anjana found herself remembering the sight of Sabina running across the park. Sabina's legs were very long and slim and fully formed, her elbows sticking out too far from her body. Over the next few mornings, Sabina grew noticeably faster. On the second day, she began to move ahead of our Anjana. On the fourth morning, Anjana outran her, but it exhausted Anjana. When Sabina suggested one more sprint, Anjana refused because she was already tired of. At breakfast, a few hours later, Anjana found the bag that she had given Sabina leaning against the wall in their living room. Abbas apologized to me this morning, said Anjana's father. He said Sabina asked for you some of your things and you gave them to her. He was very embarrassed about it. It is not fair, Acha, said Anjana. The rebellion raised up inside Anjana and she realized what had happened. Why can't Sabina run? It's just a race, said Anjana. Actually, what happened after the practice, when Sabina returned home, they found her. Because of that, Sabina's father took all the clothes that Anjana gave to Sabina and he returned that to Anjana's house. It is not for us to decide, Anjana, said Anjana's father. If Sabina wants to run, she will run, said Anjana's mother, who had watched over Sabina and Anjana when they were young. Anjana's mother was the one who had taught them games that kept them occupied for hours. Those games pulled them apart when they grew so bored and when they began attacking each other. 2 days later, a blue inland letter arrived for Anjana. The letter, unsigned, only said, "The sports meet is on Saturday." That was the letter from our Sabina. On Saturday, Anjana reached the government high school. The race was about to begin. Anjana went to the end of the track. There were no sign of Sabina. Is Sabina Khan running? Anjana asked a teacher standing at the end of the track. No, he said. She gave her name for the trials, but did not come. Anjana was walking away from the tracks, disappointed, when she heard the words, "On your marks." She turned to the tracks. 9 girls were bent and ready to run. "Get set," the teacher commanded. Their bodies became firm, straight, and still. And there is a last command. Go. No one saw where the 10th runner came from. As the 9th runner shot forward, she looked around. Finding no empty track, she stepped out beyond the tracks and into an imaginary track on grass. She began to run. As she ran, her black burqa billowed behind her like a thick black cloud of smoke. That was our Sabina. When the teacher commanded go, suddenly a 10th runner came up. But there was no any empty tracks. So Sabina imagined the grassy area of that ground as a track and she began to run. The other girls were now already well into the race. The black shape quickly gathered speed and began to catch up with the runners in the middle. who grew aware of a flapping behind them. The 9 runners stared at our Sabina when she caught up with a few smooth, long steps, moving steadily closer to the 2 leading runners. Her elbows stuck out too far from her body and she ran barefoot. By the 5th-meter line, the black shape was at parallel with the 2 leaders. The crowd watched in silence. Then the runner broke away. With one more burst of power, she went forward, mounting on her wings, past the finishing line like a great black bird. So our Sabina finished first. 9 girls gathered at the end of the track, bent and quickly breathing. But the 10th kept running. She kept running off the field and out of the school grounds into the streets. Anjana ran after her till she was just behind. Sabina called Anjana. She turned. Anjana went closer and raised her veil over her. Sabina did not stop Anjana. Her face was gleaming with sweat and excitement. "I ran," said Sabina, still panting for breath. "You won," Anjana said, and embraced her. She was shaking in Anjana's arms. "Are you laughing or crying?" Anjana asked. "Both," said Sabina. And indeed there were tears streaming down her face, and her body was tracked with wave after wave of laughter. Then she pulled away, and Anjana caught a last glimpse of a smile before the veil slipped down her face. Then Sabina walked away, leaving only wetness in Anjana's palm, her swan sweat and tears that Anjana had wiped from her cheeks. Here, in this chapter, what we can see is, in order to satisfy her will, Sabina participated in the race, but not as a combatant, but she ran in the empty grass field in order to satisfy herself. But we should notice that she had all potential to get the first prize in this race also. Without a tracksuit, by wearing the black burqa, she won the first prize. But her family and the social status did not allow her to run and win that prize. But she was very happy. Her eyes overflowed with happiness that she won the first. By seeing this all, our Anjana also wiped tears from her cheeks. So dear students, it is you, the leaders of tomorrow. So try to provide opportunities and chances for all the people, irrespective of their caste, color, gender, and religion.